Well, every single week, without fail, well, most weeks anyway, there is a new release or two to come out onto physical media. And the one man you can rely on the most to tell you all about it is this guy, the man of the minute, the man of this minute at least, Jarret Khan. How are you, mate?
Hopefully, a man of maybe 15 minutes.
Can you go that
We
long?
might need it. There's actually quite a few releases coming out this week, and for once, there's genuinely exciting content, and that's not just because it's the inevitable, long-awaited release of Houseboat Horror on Blu-ray. But I'm going to save that one. I'm not going to dive right into that one straight away. Now, the first one I wanted to mention is John Wick Chapter 4. It's coming out on 4K Blu-ray and DVD, so on all the formats. This release is crazy, Glenn. Like, it is loaded with special features. The Blu-ray and 4K have like 12 featurettes on this thing. And they're not like, your 2 or 3 minute sort of puff pieces. They're actually pretty, chunky, anywhere between 7 minutes, 20 minutes each. And then it's rounded out by 2 trailers. I mean, it's the kind of film that I don't know if you need a commentary for. And given that there's 12 featurettes, I think every facet of the production is covered within them. And at least you get some sort of like visuals at the same time instead of listening to the same monotone voices over and over. And Keanu rarely participates in audio commentaries anyway. So, and he's the one you'd want to hear from,
Yep.
surely.
Well, it's all relative. Like, the amount of content in the special features has to sort of counteract or counterbalance the length of the fucking movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I've seen the previous 3 installments, but I heard this one was shockingly long.
It's like 3 hours.
3 hours is insane. I was looking at going to the movies on the weekend. We were going to take my father-in-law to see a film.
Yeah.
We put him to work for the day, and then the treat was at the end of the day we'd take him to the movies. We hadn't told him that because we weren't sure if we'd get everything done in time. We thought, well,
Didn't know
the
if you could
fail-safe
deliver.
is we'll take him to dinner. I looked at the duration of the 3 films we were contemplating seeing. Fast and Furious X, that was like 130 minutes. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, or is that what it's called? Or Across the Spider-Verse?
Yeah.
Across the Spider-Verse. Not to be confused with the next one, Beyond Spider-Verse or something of that nature, if you've been watching the Comic-Con video. I didn't even realize they'd given it a name, but that was about the only question I didn't get.
I tried to lead him into the answer.
I know. And then the other one was Guardians, and again, that was like just on, I think that was actually 2.5 hours. That was the longest of the 3. And I was like, well, he's definitely not going to get to see a movie. We'll take him to the pub for dinner.
Isn't it really weird? Like, movies are getting long, I think is ridiculous. I don't think any of them need to be that long. But also, like, once upon a time, I thought that the cinema chains cared about the amount of screens they had and the amount of films they can fit into a day.
They did. Well, once upon a time they did, but now I think it's the caliber of film. It doesn't matter how long it goes. It's just, if that's going to fill a cinema, then, fair enough. Plus, I think post-COVID, they're a bit funny, the cinemas these days. Not all the majors, and I mean majors, I'm talking like Village and event cinemas. Not all of them are doing, late night sessions every night of the week. During the week, some of the cinemas are only going to like, a 7 o'clock session, and they're not doing the 9 or 10s anymore. I think, despite the crowd slowly coming back to cinemas and having those tentpole titles to draw them, I think they've kind of got, maybe we don't need to put the 9 o'clock session on when we only had like, a handful of people come along because we're paying wages and this. Yeah, exactly. It's my favorite time to go to the movies because generally you were guaranteed you weren't going to get a bunch of kids in the session.
Yep.
And things of that nature. But yeah, it's a damn shame. My local, thankfully, still does late night sessions, but sadly it only has, I think it has 6 cinemas. So we're pretty limited in terms of the amount of films that can be played when you've got Fast and Furious X in 2 cinemas.
Right. Taking up 3 hours.
And when I said they were the 3 options, it's because those were the 3 films screened in all 6 cinemas. But anyway, yes, so I haven't seen this one. Look, I'm glad I did wait because, my tolerance for a long film in the cinema is very short these days, and I'll more than happily watch it at home because guess what? I can do it as a 2-parter. I can treat it like The Irishman and, make it a mini-series. So, yeah, I'm more than happy to do that. But the other release I'm really excited about that isn't Houseboat Horror because that's still coming is this one, and I've actually got a copy to show you right here if I don't get any glare on it.
Yes,
and it's Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2 double pack. This is the global first that they've been able to release all the cuts. So you've got the theatrical and director's cut of both Halloween 1 and 2, which is great because I prefer the theatrical cut of the original Halloween Rob Zombies. And that never got a local release on Blu-ray. It only the director's cut did. And I prefer this one because it doesn't have that, you know, awful rape scene in it. But the second one, I'm curious to check out the director's cut because I've only ever seen the theatrical, and God, it was a dog. So I'm hoping the director's cut is actually going to be a bit better, but knowing Rob Zombie, it's probably not.
No, you know what? It's like, I mean, you know, I don't like those movies. Like, I really, really have a strong distaste for them. But of the two, I prefer part 2. So go figure.
Well, maybe because it's just so out there. Yeah. At least he tried to do something different. Right. Whether he accomplished it or not, yeah. Well, personally, I don't think he did. At least not with the theatrical cut. But yeah, in addition to both cuts of both films, they've actually gone to the effort of compiling all the special features. So all the archival content. There's nothing new, but it's all the archival content, which includes that 4.5-hour documentary on the making of the original Halloween. I mean, you'd have to be a pretty devout Rob Zombie fan to sit through 4.5 hours of the making of a movie. It's ridiculous. I know that when he did Devil's Rejects, that had like a 2-hour or 2.5-hour documentary. And then he was threatening to release like a 4 or 5 hour documentary on the making of 31. The only way I'd watch that is if it was like 4.5 hours of him apologizing for having made that film.
Mate,
and doing some...
Yeah. Like, you know, I so want to get behind everything that Rob Zombie does, but there's only, I think, 3 films that I genuinely love of his, and the rest I could just take or leave.
Yeah, I think I've got 2. Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah, for me it's Devil's Rejects, Lords of Salem, and probably House of a Thousand Corpses. Yeah.
I mean, I'm curious to check out his Halloween theatrical cut again, because I did see that one theatrically and I really enjoyed it. And then I was megally disappointed when it came out on Blu-ray and the director's cut. You know, had some extra violence and gore, big deal. Yeah. I mean, there was enough violence as there was. But, yeah, the rape scene just didn't sit well with me. Sure. And so, yeah, I'm glad it's finally got a release. But that's stacked 4-disc set, nice slip cover. Then, of course, Umbrella Entertainment are releasing... No, I'm not going to talk about Houseboat Horror just yet. They're also releasing A Tale of Two Sisters, which is a Korean film from, I think, 2003 from memory. Yep. And it's the same director who did I Saw the Devil and A Bittersweet Life, which Umbrella's just done really lovely editions of those. And now they've done the edition of this. And again, it comes with a beautiful slipcover that's limited. So if you're interested, get in and grab it straight away because the slipcovers aren't going to be around forever.
A Tale of Two Sisters was good. I have the DVD of that, and I think it got remade, an American remake. Was it The Uninvited or something like that?
The Uninvited, yeah. It was a bit of a dog of a film, to be honest, The Uninvited. I remember I got it confused at the time. I think there was a film that came out, something along the lines of The Unborn, but not The Unborn, that was directed by, what was his name? Rodman Flender, or the guy that did Idle Hands, and that was what he cut his teeth doing. Not that, but yeah, there was something else around that time. And Skeleton Key, it was just, and The Reaping. I feel like there was just a whole bunch of studio shit films. But I mean, God, you know, I can't complain. I'll probably go back and revisit it and have a bit of a nostalgia feel for it and go, look, it wasn't that bad. I was just a bit harsh on it when it came out.
Yeah.
But the last one I want to mention is the most important release of the week, obviously. The long-awaited release of Houseboat Horror on Blu-ray.
Of the week, the most anticipated of the year, mate.
Oh, definitely of 2023, possibly 2024 as well. I mean, it's going to be the best release until they do the 4K release of the film, which is, look, it's somewhat inevitable, isn't it? You know, you can upscale the Betacam SP footage to 4K. I'm sure it'll look stunning. That said, though, the digital remaster of the film actually looks really good. Like, it really pops. It adds color. It strangely adds detail. You know, they use this AI technology to basically, you know, look at the objects and render them out and add sort of detail to it. I don't know how it's done. It's phenomenal because you watch it and it's like you've never seen Houseboat Horror before.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, so it looks great, and obviously it's loaded with special features, and it's got that slipcover, but that's a limited drop as well. So if you want to go in and grab it, because again, that's one is not going to be around forever. Like I waited on Twisted Nerve. I was just thinking, you know, that'll be around for a bit. And I dropped into a JB Hi-Fi and they had the slipless version. And I thought, oh, okay, well, there you go. And then I see people on Facebook with the slipped version. And obviously they've sold through and they've reordered stock. So I've learnt my lesson, but don't be a fool. Get into the store and get Houseboat Horror
It was really
ASAP.
good to see Umbrella at Comic Con. That was their first time there, and
Yeah.
their store was busted, mate. It was like there's a lot of people there.
Well, they were selling Houseboat Horror, I believe,
They
which
were.
I just was blown away.
Do you want-
I had someone send me a picture, and I'm like, "Whoa, what? It's already ready."
I was
Oh my
so
God.
devastated because we were really focused on doing what we were there to do, right? And I'm walking around filming, and I'm like, "Oh, the Umbrella table! Quick, get some footage, real quick." You know, it was mostly
Yeah,
close-ups,
yeah.
and I had a quick yak to the people working the stall, and then right now we've got to get the next stuff. So we walked off, and as we left the con at the end of the day, I'm like, I didn't buy anything from the Umbrella stand. Like I should have picked up heaps
Ah,
because I went loaded with cash,
damn.
ready to buy. Not knowing they'd be there, and I'm like, I could have picked up Houseboat Horror. I could have picked up, whatever else they had. So spewing.
Well, yeah, and they did I know that obviously the con was on the Saturday and the Sunday, but they actually brought a bunch of stock along on the Saturday too. That's long out of print, including that Art the Clown box set for
Yeah,
Terrifier.
I saw that there.
That thing fetches like $300 to $600 on eBay now.
Yeah.
So if you had got in early, you could have basically paid for all your autographs and whatever else you do at Comic Con, get your chips and whatnot, and sold that Art the Clown box set, or you could have kept it. But if you really wanted it, you should have pre-ordered it.
Yeah.
Don't be a fool. Don't sleep on these releases. But yeah, I know. I was kind of like, damn, I wish I'd gone down because now all these people I know have got a copy of Houseboat Horror and I don't have one yet. So it's killing me, man. I mean, I've seen all the content, but I just want to be able to put it in a Blu-ray player. I think it's going to be a special moment.
Totally.
But yeah, that's about it. Cool. I mean, next week we've got a massive release that's coming out that I'm refusing to watch. And I mean, that was a release that was announced, like 3 weeks ago?
I don't know.
It was when I was away.
They
move fast.
We'll
man.
have to
they
wait until
very
next
fast. Well, when are they going to release Barbarian? Come on.
Yeah, I know. Come on. Yeah, far out.
It's ridiculous. I mean, the movie made money at the box office, and yet they're still shilling all of this crappy Disney Pixar stuff that nobody wants to watch for free on Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're holding out on the Barbarian. So I don't know. Hopefully they do a deal with somebody and a boutique label gets hold of it. But knowing Disney, actually, on that topic of Disney, I've got a funny one for you. This is another release that I wasn't even going to mention that's coming out this week. But this is Disney preying upon the deceased. Did you see that they're rushing a reprint of What's Love Got to Do with It?
Yep.
And they're tossing it into stores? Like, come on, mate. The dirty mouse.
You know what? Yeah. I mean, the place I worked at in the past, that was against policy. If someone dies, you don't try to cash in on it. That was just an absolute no-go. And back in the days when I owned a video store, when somebody died, I made all of their catalog free for hire. So,
that's really sweet.
Yeah.
Man.
So, yeah, it's a bit tasteless to be doing that. But
No, well, speaking of tasteless, now we're going back about, maybe almost 20 years. Actually, we are probably going back about 20 years. Whenever Anna Nicole Smith passed, and I was working at a mass merchant, specialist retailer that sold DVDs and Blu-rays, actually pre-Blu-ray era.
Yeah.
And Anna Nicole Smith passed, and I quickly rushed an order with Stomp Visual to get as many copies of the series as I could because it was going cheap. They wanted to get rid of it. And as soon as I was like, they're going to mark it up, I ordered like 50 copies of it. And the store I was in was very prominent with an audience that might appreciate Anna Nicole Smith. And, I did a dump bin for these DVDs, right? And it was pretty bad taste. I mean, at the time I thought it was funny, and now I kind of got this bad taste. But, I'm sharing my shame. I made the dump bin and I made the header card a tombstone that had the year that I wrote her name, the year she was born, the year she passed, and then below her bust measurement. And I had it up in store for 3 days before head office called. And head office actually said, "Look, it's clever. Yeah. It's clever and it's funny.
Take it down.
But you probably need to take it down,
That's probably... I have a funny feeling it's the same place I was talking about, and that's probably what changed the policy.
There you go. I like to think myself as a trendsetter.
I love that.
Anyway, Glenn, that's it. That's all I've got for you this week.
All right, mate. Well, I'll see you next week then.
It is for that major tentpole title I can't wait to talk about, and I can't wait not to see.